In early October 1808, following the comprehensive defeat of the French at the Battle of Amiro and the ensuing scandal in Britain over the Convention of Sintra, which allowed the French to leave intact from Portugal in British ships with their equipment and plunder, Sir John Moore took command of the 30,000 strong British army in Portugal from the disgraced Sir Hugh Dalrymple. On the 13th of October, General Sir David Baird arrived in Corunna Harbour with approximately 12,000 British reinforcements. General Moore led the British army into northwestern Spain, with the aims of combining the British forces and then aiding the Spanish in their revolt against French occupation. However, en route, Moore had learned that Napoleon had entered Spain at the head of a large army of approximately 100,000 men, intending to reimpose French authority. This, together with the fall of the Spanish capital Madrid to the French, made the British Army's position in Spain untenable. With its headquarters at Mayorga, Moore planned to retreat towards Portugal in face of the large numbers of French troops against him. However, he was also aware that Marshal Soult's isolated force of 16,000 men was stationed nearby at Carillon. Moore planned to make an attack against Soult before retreating. As part of this plan, the cavalry force under Henry Lord Paget of approximately 400 hussars from the 15th and the 10th Light Dragoons with some horse artillery was sent towards Soult as a reconnaissance in force ahead of the infantry. En route, Paget received information from the local Spanish population that there was a French cavalry brigade stationed in the monastery in the town of Sahagun. This was the 800-strong brigade of General Debelle, comprising of the 8th Dragoons and the 1st Provisional Chasseurs à Cheval. Paget decided to move towards Sahagun. Advancing towards Sahagun, the British encountered a strong French picket which they attacked, but some managed to get away and were able to give warning of the approaching British. Paget's plan was for the 15th Hussars to position themselves to the east of the town and block the retreat of the French cavalry, while the 10th Hussars with the horse artillery were to attack the monastery in the town where the French were reported to be billeted. The 15th Hussars reached Sahagun just before dawn on the 21st of December and took the route around the town on the main road to Carillon. As they reached the main road, the 15th Hussars saw a dark block of French cavalry drawn up to their far left. It was the French Cavalry Brigade formed up in two lines, with the 1st Provincial in front and the 8th Dragoons behind. The French cavalry headed away from the town towards the east. The 15th Hussars followed along the main road, riding parallel to the French. The French brigade then halted, turned towards the road and began to open fire from their saddles with their carbines. The 15th Hussars quickly formed in line and charged the French cavalry. Unusually, the French cavalry remained stationary and tried to halt the British cavalry with their carbines. The 15th Hussars crashed into the French cavalry brigade, cutting their way through their formations. The battle broke up into a melee, but quickly the two French brigades began to retreat, with the Dragoons taking the northeast road towards Saldana and the Chasseurs taking the eastern road towards Carillon. Although some Frenchmen got away, many were captured during the British pursuit. On returning to Sahagun, the 15th Hussars found another brigade of cavalry in formation and apparently ready for action. However, these troops were soon identified as the British 10th Hussars, who had difficulty locating the town. French casualties during the battle were several men killed, with 12 officers and 145 men taken prisoner. British casualties were 2 killed and 18 wounded. Following the battle at Sahagun, French cavalry were reluctant to fight British cavalry for the remainder of the campaign. The French 1st Provisional Chasseurs were so depleted by their losses at Sahagun that they were disbanded. News of the battle had focused Napoleon's attention on the British, allowing the Spanish forces time to recover from their defeats. Moore reached Sahagun later that day. He then gave his army 2 days of rest. On the 23rd of December, Moore learned that Napoleon was rushing north in an attempt to trap the British army. He cancelled his planned advance towards Soult and began his retreat towards Corunna on the northwestern coast of Spain.